Can you see everybody?
Yeah, I can see you guys.
Okay. So welcome to the Game Dev Meet Lisbon Live 2. Whoa, let me close Skype because this is making a little bit of noise. Okay. So welcome. I'm opening the questions here. Facebook. Damn it, I have to open. Oh no. Okay. So my questions. Where are my questions?
You can make a few questions on live. It doesn't matter.
Can you tell everybody who are you? What are you doing here?
What I'm doing, I'm just sitting. And but my name is Radek, and I work at 11-bit Studios as AI designer. And my previous work was AI system for this work of mine. And currently, I am working on new behavior system for new top secret project. So I sorry I can't tell you much about new secret project, but I can tell you a lot about AI systems in this work of mine.
Okay. You know, we have a couple of questions for you, pre-prepared. But I'm going to ask if everyone is listening okay to what Radek is saying. Do you have any questions? If you don't have, I will put one of the prepared questions here. If you have one question while we're talking, just raise your hand, tell us your questions, and we'll put it in. Does anybody have a question? No? Okay. So what we actually did was we did a poll of what everybody wanted to ask you first. So the first question is, what does it mean to be an AI designer? It's what everybody wants to know. Can you tell?
I try because it's not easy. Because you, as AI designer, you have very big impact on the project. I would say that you have the biggest impact on your project, especially for games like this one of mine, where almost everything is depends on how your NPC will behave, and you need to take this responsibility and take it very seriously if you don't want to screw this up, because it's very easy to ruin entire game mood with some mistakes of your AI behaviors, and especially if this game is takes a lot of emotion, and you need to bring those emotions to the player, and you're using your AI as tool to show player what this game is trying to tell about the story of the game. And yep, this is it. This is your responsibility for showing the player what story designer what want to tell him.
How much handling is required in order to avoid a too perfect AI system?
Can you ask again?
Yes. How much handling, in a way, preparation does it require to avoid a too perfect AI system?
I don't think something like too perfect AI system even exists, because we try to achieve some kind of perfect AI system, and
more in terms of looking too robotic, too.
Oh, you mean that?
Yeah.
You need to include our human brain limitations into your AI, because we human don't react instantly. So if we see that someone is trying to shoot at us, we need about 150 milliseconds time to react, and you need to include those delay in your AI system. So because robots can robotic system can react instantly and human cannot, and you need to remember that if your NPC humans, they also need to have this limitation. So you need to take those human brains on if you, for example, you NPC trying to shoot at player, they also you need to remember that they have to miss sometimes because AI program can hit player 100 times, 100% times. So every time it can kill the player, but we don't want this because human are not perfect. They need to have some time to aim the player. They need to miss sometimes because humans are very, you know what I mean, imperfect, and they not hit every time when they shooting at some target, and you need to take into account when you're trying to mimic human behavior for your NPC.
So next question. No, does anybody have any questions, or is this too? You have a question? Okay, you have a question.
Yeah, you work with state machines building your AIs.
Did you listen, or do you need me to repeat?
As far as I heard, it was something about state machine.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you repeat? It would be nice.
You work with state machines building your AIs.
Do you work with state machines building your AIs?
You know what I work. I can tell you what I'm working now, but for this work of mine, we have used something what is called behavior trees, and this is some variation of finished state machine. So yeah, we work on state machine, but it was a behavior tree. This is um, a little different from state machines because you don't have transitions. If you want to, if you have a lot of states, and we had a lot of states, you need to avoid transitions, and that we used behavior trees. But this is some kind of this is variation of state machines, and you can also build some kind of state machine using behavior tree system.
Anybody has any more questions? No? I will go on. Let me see what I have here. Okay, next question. What do you think will be the future of AI in games?
I think what we need right now is just more performance because our AI behaviors at the moment are pretty similar to real human reactions. But what we need right now is more power, more performance, especially for mobile devices, because right now many games are made especially for systems like iOS or Android, and as far as we know, they are not so powerful as PC. So what we're looking right now for AI is to optimize it for mobile gaming.
Okay, next question. Let me see. How could AI be used for QA in games?
QA, what do you mean by that?
Sorry, I didn't get that. QA, okay. Quality assurance.
Oh, and can you repeat the entire question so it would?
Yeah. Okay, the question is, how could AI be used for quality assurance in games?
Oh, you know, I'm not work in quality assurance, but I think we can come out with some kind of algorithms which can be used to automate, to make some repeatable work from QA to bringing on PC, so it can be done automatically on your in computer. So because QA department many times have to do many repeatable work, and this part of job can be done by algorithms, and we can use it on we can make live or of AI, QA man easier.
Okay, let's see. What was your path to become a AI designer?
Uh, it was very difficult at the beginning because I know nothing. I have to learn everything about AI, and I'm still learning. I still
No.
don't.
Okay. Did you did the stream stop, or did you try?
I don't know. We have some difficulties right now.
Yeah, okay. Can you start over, please?
So I will repeat. At the very beginning of my working as AI designer, it was very painful and difficult because I knew nothing about AI, and I have very hard work to do. So I had to learn about this, and I hated to work with AI. But time has passed, and I start to learning these systems, and I finally found a proper mindset how to work with AI, how to understand AI, because you need to understand AI, you need to love AI if you want to create really good behaviors for your NPCs. So I think this is very difficult, not only for me, but for every AI designer to find his own proper mindset to create behavior for any game.
Let me see. We have another question. Yeah.
How do you see the language processing being used in gaming, especially in the AIs who are like building the story as you go and more often as in the story, not only in the world of the game?
Did you get that?
If you can repeat, because this audio is not too
Okay.
well.
How do you see AI being used in language? Like, okay, okay, language process. Okay. How do you see language processing being used in AI as part of the game to move the story as you go?
I think we can we can use something what is called learning machine, and this is some kind of algorithm which allows you to understand for your computer to understand many things like what uh, some word means. For example, if you have some story, if you want to for computer to understand what player is writing on keyboard, you need to run those learning algorithms, and this game will learn uh, how player can communicate with this game, and it can choose some decisions made by player input,
Oh, no.
for example. So you can use something like neural networks to recognize player intentions and stuff like that. But I didn't work with neural networks, so I don't know much about learning algorithms. As far as I know, it can be used by trying to figure out what player intention was when he typing some text on a keyboard.
Any more questions? No? Let's go to the next one. Um, uh, okay. How do or would you manage stepping up from simple state machines to cutting edge tech without compromising business? That's
We can split this question into two parts. Yes, if you can repeat the first part of this question.
yeah. So stepping up from simple state machines to cutting edge technology.
It depends what technology you need to use, because we have a lot of technologies which can be applied to run some AI actions, and state machines is just one of them, and it is just complexity of your state machine. You can add more and more features and make your state machine very complex. But you can use, of course, other algorithms if you want to have a very smart game, which can, for example, um, uh, make a plans by this I mean that your game can make a plans, not just run pre-made plans. So you can use not state machine but planners. This is other kind of technology. This is not a state machine, so I don't think that state machines is the best thing what we can achieve right now. We have many other technologies, but if you want to have a better complexity for your state machine, you can use hierarchical state machine. This is state machine where you have in some kind of states, and every kind of state have his own states inside. So you can have, for example, 10 layers of states in your state machine, because it's now hierarchical state machine. And you really can have a high complexity of your algorithms, but sometimes it's good to use some other system like, for example, planners, behavior trees, sometimes even scriptings.
Cool. Let me see. Now, next one. As an AI designer, what can you do to better help the player empathize with the NPCs?
Oh, it's very hard because you need to know a little of psychology of player, of human mind, and you just try to show what this game story is. And the game story is, of course, made by vision designer or how it was named, story designer, and they just give you some documents, and you try to visualize those documents into actual behaviors in your game, and that's why this is your job. It's just to visualize the story. Because I am not story designer, I suck at story designer because I never make a good story, but I think I am pretty good at showing what other designer want to tell to the player, and I can use, of course, like in this one of mine, behavior tree system to manage those behaviors to achieve some kind of mood for the game, to some emotion, to show some emotions. And this is of course difficult because even the smallest mistakes in your behavior tree can ruin the entire mood of your game, and that's why this is your job. Your job is to try to avoid those mistakes and to show storyline the best what you can.
Next one. Can you quickly list the essential skills for being a AI designer?
The most essential skill is love, and this is not a skill. This is part of your mindset that you need to love AI. This is the most important. If you don't love making AI, nothing more will help you. But you can also it's also very good to have some programming knowledge, because behavior tree or any other behavior system, it's some kind of meta programming language, and knowing, for example, C# or C++ or Java or any other programming language is pretty good for you as AI designer, because as I said, making behavior is some kind of meta programming.
Next one. Let's see. No, this one we already did. Is it a practice to offload some AI processing into the GPU?
I know what you mean. And as far as I know, NVIDIA came out with their solution for GPU AI acceleration. And I have to disappoint you. As far as I know, we don't need that solution in video games for two reasons. The first one is hardware limitations, and by that I mean you need to have this special AI acceleration feature on your GPU, and this is very expensive model of NVIDIA cards. So not only you as game developer, you need to have it, you need to buy this graphic card, but also every of your customers need to have this card. And I don't think people will buy card for for AI acceleration. People just want better graphics. And their card, as I said, are pretty expensive. And the second reason is we don't need high learning skills in most video games because what we need is to run predefined sequences of behavior, make some decision on fly, or for example, remember some things. But we don't need to have for our AI system very high learning skills. And I think this is solution not for video industry, but more for scientists, for academic researchers.
Okay. Next one. What are some good practices for working with non-deterministic AI state machines?
Non-deterministic AI state machines. No, I think this is the same as any other state machine and any other system is to play your game. You need to not only implement those behaviors in your game, but also you need to play this. And you need to play your game as much as you can because this is the best way to find mistakes, is the best way to make your game better. Because if you play your game, you just see how your work actually is performing in your game, and you can improve it. And this is the this is the best thing what you can do, in my opinion. So just play your game and find what can be improved and find eventual bugs.
Next one. Let's see. Nobody has a question to add up? No? I actually have a question that's not here in the list. So I'll ask my question. How complex was it to work on this war of mine? And when I say complex is how many nights did you sleep and how much coffee did you drink? Please tell me all about it.
Oh my God, it was so difficult. We had to spend a lot of time. When I came to work about Friday, I came out to my home about Monday evening, something like that. And we have a lot of crunch like that, like this, because it's very difficult. And if you're making the game like that, at the very beginning, AI isn't a very big problem, but when you at end of your uh, development process, the AI start to be a really crucial thing, and you need to work on it very much. So I was one of the few people what had to stay in office after hours, and after hours I mean it was for example 2 months to stay in work and spend half of night in work and go to home, drink some coffee, and go back to your work. And it was very difficult for me. But also, I wanted to do this because it was some kind of experience what you can have only one time in your entire life. Making AI for not only AI but game itself, like this one of mine, is something what you make only one time in your life, and this is the reason what I didn't complain about how much we have to work. So the complexity of AI system is also another issue because we have about 50 megs of data about only about our behavior trees. This was a lot about if I wanted to show you entire behavior tree on I would need about 1 kilometers of screens. to show entire tree. So this is length of about 3 or 4 jumbo jets. You know, screen one next to another, and this is what. Then I have enough space to show you. This is very difficult, and it was very large part of data.
And you survived that. Congratulations.
Yeah, we all survived that, but we have idea because you know this world of mine was not just game for us because we meet those people from war zones and we talk with them. So we really seriously we have some kind of mission to show what it is to be there, to be in war zone and try to survive. We meet those people and we talked with them a lot, and they taught us uh, how they survived, and we really try to show to the players how it is. Of course, it's just a game, but we really wanted to show to entire world what we wanted to show, and I think we achieved pretty much of it. So, as I said, it was for us some kind of mission, some kind of high idea, and it gave us a lot of energy to finish this game, to work very hard on this game.
We have a question from someone. Yeah.
Why use behavior trees and not another algorithm?
I, as I said, this audio is not well, so Yogo, if you can repeat.
Let me check. Please
Why
repeat.
use behavior trees and not another algorithm?
Okay. Why use behavior trees and not a different algorithm?
Because we could use state machines, but state machines have transitions. If you have to run other state, you have to make a transition from one state to another. And we have about, for every single NPC, we have about 50, 60, or maybe even 70 states. So we couldn't afford to make this kind of AI on state machines. And the only AI system which allows us to work with that kind of complexity was behavior trees, because on the behavior trees you don't have transitions, you don't need to have transition from any state to another, and it was our primary choice. And this is very easy to work with behavior trees because you just evaluate those trees from left to right, and it's very predictable for you as AI designer to find what's wrong with your AI when something not working, and also it's very easy to implement new behaviors. So this is the primary choice, but also we could choose, for example, planners, because they also have some uses in game like that. But we just go with behavior trees, and I think this was a very good decision from our side.
Okay. More questions? No? Let's fill in the blank here. Okay. What's your favorite example of AI design in a game?
I think bots in Quake 3, Quake 3, because in Quake 3 we have very complex maps, and those bots need to navigate through entire maps. They need to find best spots to kill the player and stuff like that, and that's why I think it was just some kind of perfect AI for me. And this is even difficult for a human to move like that, and their bots actually made it, and they was very skillful on these maps, and that's why I think is some kind of perfect AI where when every AI developer should learn from.
Next one. Let me see. Technical limitations aside, how much AI is too much AI?
There is nothing. There is no such thing like too much AI, but I think you mean too complex behavior system, and this is where when you choose wrong system. For example, if this one of mine, if we have state machines, we would say that this is too much AI for us because of it. Then it would be too complex to, yeah, just too complex behavior trees and too complex of data to process for us as humans. And I think in that case, transition would be our bottleneck. And this is, I think you mean just choosing wrong system for creating your game.
Cool. Let me see. Will you take responsibility for your part in an eventual AI-related apocalypse?
Can you repeat? I just heard about something about apocalypse, and I want to hear more.
Yeah, will you take the responsibility if that happens?
Oh, I think I will be the one who control the entire thing.
Okay, next one. Is humanity ready for to create a monkey AI in a video game?
I think we are ready for this, but nobody as far figured out a good game about monkeys. So the first we need to invite some good game about monkeys, so we have reason to create a good monkey AI.
Okay. Next one. Can you summarize what should be used for navigation and when, plus its advantages and disadvantages? Yeah.
We have a few systems, and we can use, of course, the simplest one, which is waypoint system. Does your agent go from point A to point B, and that's all. But in many cases, this is enough. You don't need anything more. And but if you need to have, you need to, for example, navigate through two-dimensional space. Systems like maybe not system, but algorithms like Dijkstra or Astar should be enough, so, because they can find the best path on the map in very short time. But if you have three-dimensional space, like for example, FreeHAR, you can use Navi meshes, but disadvantage of Navi mesh is you need to pre-compute the entire map before, so you can't do a lot of things. You can change, for example, position on object when you have Navi mesh, because you need to, every time you change position of every object of your environment on Navi meshes, you need to pre-compute again, and this is very time consuming. And this is disadvantage. But advantage is just you need to pre-compute it once. For example, in editor, in your game editor like Unity or UDK, and you've done. Your agent can navigate through entire 3D space very well. For Astar and Dijkstra, advantage is this is just very fast algorithms, but disadvantage is this is work only for two-dimensional space, so it won't work. Of course, it can be used for 3D game, but Navi meshes do this job better. And the waypoints, as I said at the beginning, is very simple. So advantage of this is they can work very well on mobile devices, but disadvantage is just they are very simple. So you can use them on map where when you entire environment can change. For example, some obstacle can pop up.
Okay. We're reaching the end with the on the questions. Let me see. Does anybody have a question? Yes, we have a question there. Okay. Pergunta aí. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hear you.
Okay, I have a class in my master's degree about AI.
Não batas na mesa, que senão bate no microfone.
Most of it, most of it was bullshit, obviously. But one thing I learned about an article or paper, it was called Artificial Stupidity.
Oh.
It's about techniques for AI to dumb down a little bit perfect AI systems. For example, in first-person shooters, the agent has to miss the first shot to warn the player.
I know what you mean.
Several techniques. Did you have to do some tricks like that? Some techniques in this?
Yeah, we have to.
Stories like that. When it was too perfect, it was ideal, but it was too hard to put in the game to the player.
We had to add additional delay for shooting sequences in our NPCs, because when NPC saw the player, for example, player entered some room and the NPC was there, we had to add for the player about 1 or 2 seconds additional time before NPC reacted on this event. Yeah, we had to add some delays on AI behavior in many places, so it would looks like a real human needs to think about. But by that I mean when you see some stranger in your house, you don't react instantly. You just need to think who it is, what he's doing in my house. You just need to have some time to think about this. And we had to add some delays for NPCs to make them similar. So it looks like they had to think about what is going on, and as I said, it was about 1 or 2 seconds for most of our reaction in the game. You can see it. You can just run this one of mine, go to some room where NPC is, and see that they act with delay about 1 or 2 seconds. I don't. It maybe is some random number between 1 and 2 seconds. So every time it's not the same time.
Okay. Next question. Does anybody else have a question? Oh, we have a question over there. Okay. Come over here. Come over here. Fala aí para a câmera aqui.
Hello. So my question is not AI related. It's actually about Poland and Warsaw and the video industry there. No, because I lived in Warsaw till the end of February. I was there for 6 months. Yeah, and I'm visiting like in 2 weeks because I have a girlfriend there and I have friends there and everything.
So you have girlfriend from Warsaw, yeah?
Yeah.
That's so nice. Okay.
I was seeing like in CD Projekt and People Can Fly and like that. I was seeing some entry level, more like a junior gameplay programmer or something like that. And my question is, do you think that being foreign is a disadvantage at entry level?
It doesn't matter. If you are good at something, it completely doesn't matter if you are from any country. We just need in Poland right now many specialists, and if you are good at something, design, for example, you are a good 3D artist, or you are a good sound designer, you're welcome. And at the moment, I think CD Projekt and any other companies, and we also, in studios, we also need new people. So
So if I need
You are welcome in Warsaw.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, more questions, people? No? Okay, let's continue.
Wait.
We have a question. Yeah.
What were the most difficult behaviors you had to get to the game since you went and talked with people from the wars?
Did you get that?
What I get is most difficult behavior,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
The most difficult behavior, it was not shooting sequences, but it was Beggar, what we can make on some building. I think this is some kind of building where we can find a beggar. It was very difficult because that beggar actually was very cowardly behavior. So when we, for example, hit him even one time, he just ran away and begging for mercy and stuff like that. And he wanted to, as far as I know, as I remember, food from player. So he walked and after player, and we wanted for him to follow the player at any position player can make. But after some times he just getting bored of begging and he go back to his place because he had some place in one room of this building, and after some other time he start to walk and look for another human so he can beg for more food. And it was very difficult because he had some few behaviors, and when player hit him even once, he had another set of behavior, and we have to work on this beggar a lot of time.
More questions? Okay, let me ask one of the list. No. Oh yeah. Okay. This is a rumor. Somebody told me it was actually true, but I will ask it anyway. Is it true that you are actually an AI experiment on a human body?
Yes, I was in a hospital and I go to a room which is called prosectorium. I don't know the English word for that, but this is where if someone dies, we can check what was the cause of his death. And I go there and I just checked his reaction of his muscles on the when we apply some electricity on his spine from his brain. Of course, I'm joking. I never did anything like that. I never found that. Maybe I saw the body, but I didn't make experiments on this.
Thanks for your time, and thanks for helping us understand better about the AI. I hope you enjoyed this little game dev meet, and you're more than invited to come here to Lisbon to have a couple of drinks with everyone and get to know it.
Good to hear. I very like to have a drink with other game developers, so it's always nice.
Do you want to conclude with anything? Do you want to give some advice to anyone around here?
My advice is just learn about making games and come to Poland because we, at the moment, we really need new people. This is my advice.
Thanks a lot once again for being here. I will leave the live stream on. You feel free to stay or go away, do whatever you want. We're going to present our games here, and once again, thank you a lot for your time and thank you for sharing
Thank
it.
you too.